I got here as fast as I could. Um, oh man. Yeah, focus. I wish I went live. This is probably the most regretful live that I've ever missed on this channel ever. Um, give me a second, man. Let me grab a drink because we're gonna have to talk. I was rushing home just now, and the drive home, the hour drive home, calmed me all the way down. I'm calm. You guys know AJ is my guy. I can't believe what I just saw. I cannot believe. I'm not shocked at the loss. It's the way it went down, bro. I mean, AJ got demolished, bro. Oh my God. Give me a second. Let me get a drink. I need 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 a drink, bro. I can't believe I never drove home so fast. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. I can't believe. I can't believe. I can't. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I don't even know. How do I even begin? I don't even know where to start. Bro, what was that? What was that? What was that? What the hell happened today? Yo, upsets happen all the time, right? Upsets happen all the time. Listen, I was there in the garden when AJ lost to Andy Ruiz, right? I was there and it was crazy. But that, I don't know, that was a whole different level. I mean, my man, I'm like, Daniel Dubois tried to kill Anthony Joshua. He tried to kill him. I mean, from the beginning of the fight, he tried to kill him. I've never seen, I mean, literally, Daniel Dubois was a demon in the ring, bro. I've never seen a guy look like that. I mean, we've seen people get dominated. We've seen like big fights, right? Like, for example, I was driving, right? If y'all just tuning in, I'm rushing home to do this damn. I couldn't even, I couldn't even. I'm watching it on my phone. I watched the whole fight, right? I watched just about 90% of the entire card. I am bugging out, y'all. I wish I was live for this because my reaction would have been the greatest reaction. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't home. Matter of fact, if I was home, I might have knocked everything over. Yo, we've seen upsets. We've seen like, I remember when Crawford beat Spence, right? And even though I was rooting for Crawford just like he just took the layers off, right? He just beat him up slowly, right? they just cooked him slowly, right? Even when Wilder, remember when Wilder got dropped by Fury? It was like, remember when Andy Ruiz destroyed him in New York? It was like, this one feels different. Out of all of them, this man tried to kill him he was possessed. There was nothing AJ could do. There was nothing he could do. It was over as soon as it started. It was over. I saw a voting poll on dazn that said 83% of people voted for Anthony Joshua. I have listened to breakdowns. I've heard different opinions. I mean, there were people that thought Dubois would pull it off. I did a breakdown last night. It's not like that was a shock. It was the way he did it. He beat the living shit out of Anthony Joshua. He made him look like he was nothing. Anthony Joshua could do nothing. Just like that. I don't even know. I know what happened. It was a jab. It was a jab. And then it was the right hand. And it was a jab again. And the right hand. And a jab again. And the right hand. It was just continuous. And AJ, we know he's not going to hold up to too many of those. He went down in the first round. I mean, betting wise, I was having a great day. Not great, but good, solid. I was having a good day. I don't even care about the bet. Forget the bet. The bets are not a big deal to me because I don't risk nothing with bets. I don't bet big. But I'm having a good day. I jumped on the Padley live bet. I think in the third round, I jumped on Padley. Padley was doing good against Mark Chamberlain. I jumped in, got plus 510. I got the Josh Kelly one right with the decision win. It was close. Then, I got the Kokachi fight wrong because I thought it was a knockout. I predicted a knockout. So I got that one wrong, but, he won. And then the Hutchinson fight, that was the one I was completely wrong on because I put money on Hutchinson. I thought the odds was just too good. Plus 420 on a decision win. I went for it, Joshua, but, I got that one wrong. Cool. Hamza, easy bet. That was the easiest one of the day. You pick Hamza to beat him within 6. I got that one. So I'm good. I'm chilling. I'm waiting for the main event. Yo, the main event starts, bro. Luckily for live betting saved me. Halfway through the first round, I jumped on my phone and I made a live bet Dubois by KO because I didn't like the way the fight was looking in the first round. I was like, nah, no way. Just in case AJ takes an L, I'm going to cover this loss. And it worked for me on that. So when it comes to the betting, I didn't care. But the fact that AJ kept getting up and kept getting put right back down continuously over every single round. First round, knockdown. Second round, I think Dubois hurt him, but he didn't drop him. Then the third round was weird because AJ got dropped, but they didn't count one of the knockdowns. I think he touched both of his hands, touched the mat, and then I think Dubois just kept punching him, and then this dude was falling through the ropes. Then the fourth round, another knockdown happened, right? They didn't count one, I think, and then AJ got up. They counted one, but there was I think the second one was like a bump, and then AJ went down. And then in the fifth round, you know what's crazy? Yo, I'm not even reading the comments. Fotex, I'm leaving a comment up here. Fotex has said they done AJ dirty, gave him the Yamcha pose. When Yamcha got killed by the Cybermen in Dragon Ball, Yamcha was laying the same exact way. AJ, the funny thing about the fifth round, AJ finally caught him with a right hand. Finally caught him with a right hand and hurt him. And AJ, once again, similar to the Andy Ruiz fight when he dropped Andy, He tried to put Andy away. He went and just kept throwing right hands. He threw another right hand, barely grazed Daniel. Daniel wasn't fully recovered. Then the third right hand, Daniel threw the right hand with him. They both missed. AJ went for a fourth right hand, and Daniels was shorter, clocked him. He was out, bro. Laid out. It was over. As soon as he went down, I was like, oh, it's over. That's it. That's it. That's enough. That's enough. I mean, every single round, AJ got dominated. Nothing that AJ does well worked for him in this fight. Not one thing. Except having heart. Nothing as far as his ability worked for him. Everything worked against him in this fight. Daniel Dubois looked like Mike Tyson tonight. Seriously. No gas. He looked like Mike Tyson. I have not seen any heavyweight fighter look that ferocious, period. In recent years, I have not seen anyone look that angry and that willing to knock out their opponent in the heavyweight division until today. In years. He just wouldn't stop. That jab, every time he landed the jab, I thought AJ was going down. I'm watching it. I am bugging out. I'm sitting right next to someone and I'm literally grabbing them like this and shaking them as I'm watching the fight on my phone. Every single time Daniel landed a jab, I thought AJ was going down. Every single time Daniel landed a right hand, I thought AJ was going down. AJ was trying to hold on. It was the first shot. I think it might have been a jab. The first shot or the right hand that landed where AJ went to hold him, I picked up my phone and I evened out that bet. I said, oh, nah, you're not going to get me today. Not going to get me. You're not going to get me. You're not going to get me today. I covered that loss. Thank God for live betting. Daniel Dubois has ruined my life. Daniel Dubois, for the third fight in a row, has proven that I don't know shit about boxing. For some reason, I cannot get it right with this guy. Out of 5 major fights with him, 4 of them I got wrong. Even the one that I picked him to win that he lost. I cannot get that guy. I'm not, in the future, I'm not, if he fights Usyk in a rematch or Fury, I'm not touching it. I'm staying away from Daniel Dubois. I cannot pick. I clearly have underestimated him. And this is for the very last time. I don't know how to call it. I can't call it with him. But what I saw tonight, that guy is a guy right now. I mean, Usyk is the guy. But right now, Daniel Dubois with that jab and that right hand that's improved, I'm out. I'm all out. I'm not messing. I mean, I'm sorry you guys are leaving me. I know you guys are leaving me. My bad if I missed your Roland Chris says Dubois did AJ like I did Tina. It was an assault. Yes, I'm watching it like I even tweeted that. I said, yo, this is someone help AJ, bro. This is crazy. This is literally an assault. This is not even a fight. AJ got jumped tonight. Roland, he says, now AJ versus Wilder, and they both should retire. Yeah. I mean, I've always said to you guys that I still want to see the fight, no matter who lost, even when Wilder kept losing. There's something about the fight that I still want to see. I still want to see Fury against AJ as well. MAW says, salute Wave and chat. Congrats, Triple D. AJ Ring likely over Triple D in his prime. Just showed Triple J face break was legit, but Triple D climbed past it. Yo, look, man. Triple D is a problem. He's a problem, for real. And he's getting better every fight, which is scary. Because he looked good against Miller, but he looked better against Hrgovic, and then he looked even better against AJ. The guy is possessed. That guy is crazy. Wow. I just poured this drink. I didn't even have none yet. All right, let's be serious. All right, I just needed to get that out. Let's be serious. AJ, he couldn't deal with his jab. The jab was just too much. You know, the right hand was big. We already know that they both have big right hands. It was a jab. AJ, I think, has those longer reach, but it just seemed like every time Daniel stepped in with his jab, AJ couldn't do nothing about it because AJ would throw his jab, but it would never reach Daniel. Daniel always stepped in with his jab every single time, and it hurt. I said, this reminded me of like early rounds of Povetkin, right? Like, not because Povetkin was dominating with the jab, but Povetkin was just his timing when stepping in and landing those combinations was just perfect in the early rounds until AJ switched it up. But AJ didn't know what to do with the jab. He never figured it out. He never moved his head. He never really slipped it or anything like that. He couldn't get the uppercut in. I see AJ was trying to get the uppercut and time him, and he caught him a couple of times, but he didn't have that full leverage. Daniel was coming into, he was so aggressive. He was like a wild boar. He was so aggressive that AJ didn't have time to figure anything out. AJ, to be honest, it was like AJ was coming in with the momentum coming off those two recent stoppages, and he wanted to be in control. And he figured out, like, all right, Daniel's coming at me. I might as well sit back and counter, use my jab, move, go with the right hand. Daniel kept his hands up, and he stepped in with that jab. And AJ, whatever he had in his mind, whatever he had planned, it was gone. As soon as and that was the game plan. You got to beat AJ mentally. You got to beat him. You have to remind him of where he's been when he's gotten knocked down. You know what I mean? You got to remind him of that. Now, AJ showed a lot of heart. He kept getting back up. Even on the last one where he was actually clearly knocked out, he kept trying to get up. He has a lot of heart. He's a great champion. All right. He's a two-time champion, two-time unified champion. But this is the heavyweight division, baby. Like, this is why having these Riyadh season cards is a treat. Because no one's safe. We saw what happened with Mark Chamberlain tonight. Mark knocking out all these dudes, having a good run. He goes against this guy, Padley. I saw the size difference. I didn't have time to go watch Padley in previous fights, but I didn't think nothing of it. Didn't think nothing of it. And look what happened. No one is safe. And if you're fighting quality fighters each and every fight, especially if you're in a heavyweight division, you're going to lose. I keep saying this over and over again. I say this a lot about 154. I said this about Crawford And the dangers of going to that division. Everyone loses there. There's too many good fighters. There's just too many of them. Everyone is going to have their day. And if you're part of this Riyadh season stuff, it is what it is. Eddie Hearn got to be sick. Eddie Hearn is getting smoked by Frank Warren on these cross-promoting cards. He lost, his fighters lost every fight in the 5v5. All to Frank Warren fighters. Even the ones that were favorites lost. And now you got this. I was thinking about a lot of stuff driving here. And I was saying, like, damn, you know, I'm thinking to myself, Frank Warren made a phenomenal investment. And it didn't look great early because Daniel had that orbital bone injury. You know, he lost to Usyk. But man, this guy took 2 big losses, stoppage losses, got criticized, got called a quitter, came back, beat undefeated Gerald Miller, undefeated Filip Hrgović. Hrgović, a couple years ago, no one wanted to fight him. Remember that? I think they went down the list of like the 8th ranked fighters in the IBF, and none of them wanted to fight him. Michael Hunter was on that list. I believe Joseph Parker. There was like 8 of them. Daniel fought him with all the sparring stories, right? And just beat him up. But this was different. See, I looked at that performance and said, what Philip is doing here, I can see AJ doing a little better. Plus, AJ has the power. He's more proven. You know, Philip wasn't really proven. So I figured, you know, AJ, if he can counter and land some of those right hands that Dubois kept landing, he'll be all right. You know, but Philip wasn't gun shy. And that's why he did so much better than AJ. Plus, Philip has a better chin, clearly. Philip kept letting his right hand go. And again, Daniel Dubois just would not stop. It just wouldn't stop. You know, I really don't know what else to compare this to. There's nothing I can compare this to. You know, when it comes to elite fighters, this beatdown was different compared to all of them. You know, this was bad, man. This was bad. I mean, I'm watching it and I'm like, why is Daniel so angry? Seriously, I'm watching it and I'm like, why is Daniel fighting him like AJ did something to him? You know what I mean? This blew my mind, man. It blew my mind, you know. And if Daniel just had one round knockout, I don't even think that would have been so bad. It would have been bad, just as bad. But I think the fact that the fight continued and Danny just kept beating him down over and over, continuously hurting him. It was just like, wow. AJ didn't have a chance. Again, the only thing he really did that was good was land that right hand in the last round, in the 5th round. And AJ, I felt like at that moment, he thought he had a chance, a Klitschko moment, you know, where he had a fight with Klitschko and came back, you know, but it just didn't happen this time. Just didn't happen this time. What happens now? You know what? Nothing. We keep getting good heavyweight fights. I hope that Turki Al-Sheikh continues to match up these heavyweights like the way they should be, because This is the thing. A lot of you guys are going to say, I knew AJ was overrated. I knew he didn't have a chin. And that's cool. But we won't know. We can always assume this, but we won't know until these guys actually fight. You know, so I want to continue having these fights. And I really want guys like Martin Bacoli. I want to see Martin Bacoli get a shot at one of these top heavyweights. I want to see Ajit Kabayel get a shot. These guys that don't have huge names, these guys like those guys that prove themselves, but they're just not getting a recognition like that. Throw them in the ring. Throw them in a mix with some of these top tier heavyweights. Because if we get those fights, we're going to keep getting moments like this. We're going to keep getting upsets. No more hiding behind mandatories and all of that stuff. As much as this loss hurt me as an AJ fan, I appreciate what I'm getting as a boxing fan. You get what I'm saying? I am a die-hard AJ fan. I've been covering him on his channel his whole pro career. But I appreciate the quality of fights. And that will be the priority every time. Terrence Crawford is my favorite fighter. But if Madrimov had won that fight that night, I would have been satisfied that a guy that only had 11 pro fights got the opportunity to show how good he was against one of the best fighters in the world. I will never be a fanboy. I don't care. Give me these fights. Give me these moments. This is what keeps me here. I'm tired of predictable outcomes. I want to be wrong on some of these bets that I play. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I got this completely wrong. I got the last one wrong too with Triple D. I got a few more wrong. I want to be wrong. That is what's going to keep me here. And I love that I have the freedom to give you guys the real truth of how I feel about this stuff. It hurt to watch, but it needed to happen. Because if Daniel is truly better than AJ, he should have the opportunity to show the world that he is, which he did, and he got the job done. The sparring stories don't always come through. They don't always match up to the real fight. This one did. This one did. Frank Warren went, rushed, and signed that dude, and it worked in front of 96,000 people. You know, 96,000 people was there to witness that. Shout out to Danny Dubois. I'm not talking enough about him. Shout out to him, you know, because this is a guy. If you would have told me, if you would have asked me back in 2020 or 2021, who was going to be the champion, who was going to be the heavyweight champion, I would have never told you Daniel Dubois. And I know he's just the IBF champion. But look, let's go back to past lives. Let's go back to past videos that I did. You know who I was comparing Daniel Dubois to at one point? You know whose names were coming up? Jared Anderson, F.A. Ajagba. These are the people that we were comparing because all three of these guys at one point were undefeated. All three of these guys, I'm not going to forget. I don't care if I'm wrong. The videos are up. I don't take them down. These are the videos that we were making. These are the discussions that a lot of you were here for because I'm looking at the comments. All you guys are familiar. Those are the conversations we were having. Daniel Triple D, Jared Anderson, F.A. Ajagba. Daniel's on top right now. Not for nothing, but Daniel lost to Usyk, but it was a good performance. Even if you're not counting, let's just remove the controversial body shot that many people felt was clean enough, or could you know what? Depending on the ref that day and depending on the fight, that low blow would have gotten a pass in other fights. But we removed that one punch. The fight was good. Like Daniel was doing good. He didn't get dominated. He did good. I liked his aggression. I liked the fact that he was going to the body. He was there to fight. He tried to win. So salute to Daniel, man, because he's been going on a crazy streak. No one really believed in him. You know, I rarely get any people on here even when I read the comments, it's very rare that I get support comments about Daniel. It's very rare. And even for the content creators, the analysts, the experts, the trainers, the fighters, almost all of them got it wrong too. So good for him. Maybe he loses his next fight. Maybe they do put him in there with a Martin Bakoli and Bakoli wins. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's heavyweight boxing. All of these guys can punch. Anyone can get stopped at any moment. This is what it's supposed to be. This is what I remember it being. I remember watching. I brought up the Michael Moorer fight with George Foreman. I always bring up that fight because that is one of the fights as a kid I remember watching live. And I remember Moorer getting knocked down and not knowing what happened. I was staring at the TV confused because I remember he got dropped and I didn't even see the punch because I believe the camera angle was behind Moorer and Moorer had his hands up. I think the punch from George Foreman went through the gloves, and until I saw the blood coming out of Moorer, I realized that he got hit. But Moorer was clearly winning the fight. You know what I mean? And we need those moments. We need moments like that where it just happens, man. I mean, this was over the top. This was clearly over the top, but it needed to happen because Daniel was the better fighter. And you know what? He's only 27 years old. He has enough time to lose again and again and rebound and still become champion again. He has enough time to do it. Or he can keep winning. I don't know what his story is going to go, but I don't want to see a rematch. I'm sure there's a rematch clause. I don't want to see a rematch. I'm consistent. When I see someone get dominated like that, let's not hold up the division. I'm tired of rematch clauses. You get beat up like that, like Spence did, you know what I mean, last year in some of these other fights. Let's not get no rematch. Let's make other fights. Sometimes fighters lose and they do rematch a few fights down the line. We don't need these immediate rematches when you guys fight once or twice a year. You guys don't even fight like that. We don't need rematches when we got too many fighters in line waiting to get a title shot. Joe Joyce, I brought this up in a breakdown. Joe Joyce should have got his title shot, but he was just getting held up. It kept beating up guys like Daniel Dubois and Joseph Parker. But Daniel still got a shot before him. Because at some point, when you are fighting in the heavyweight division, some point, somebody's going to beat you. And Zhang beat him up, stopped him. But then Joseph Parker came back and beat him. This is how boxing works at the heavyweight division. You don't go on these long streaks of just beating the top guys. No. If there's a top 10 fighter, maybe even 20, somebody's going to knock you out at some point. I don't know what AJ does from here. I don't want to see a rematch. Again, like, you know, some guys just have your number. You know what I mean? And AJ was doing what it was like someone really capitalized off your weaknesses really, really well. Those weaknesses that we saw in AJ, all the things that we've always said about him, I saw them there. I saw them there in other fights, but no one was really good at capitalizing on them. Dubois' style was just, it's all wrong for AJ. It's just all wrong. Because AJ needs room to work. When you're that powerful and you have that much of a much power in your jab, AJ doesn't win in any case and scenario. And I hate that this go from saying that he can win, but no, I'm basing it off. I know how the both of them fight. I've seen the both of them fight many times. I know what Dubois could do to win. I broke that down. But Dubois was perfect. All his strengths, he took full advantage of. All of AJ's weaknesses, he took full advantage of. He was perfect. There's no, yeah, AJ caught him with a good shot in the 5th round. That's all we got from AJ. That's it. MAW says Frank Warren likely gives Triple D rest. Play safe and push it for Triple D to go undisputed next versus Usyk Fury rematch winner, in my honest opinion. Parker should be next man. Yeah. Parker is in a tough situation because I feel like Joseph Parker, and I know I've said this before in another live, Joseph Parker might have to fight someone really tough before he gets that shot. You know what I'm saying? Like he might can sit out and wait it out. Maybe he doesn't fight like a Caballero or a Piccoli. Maybe he can get straight to a title shot without having to deal with another like really dangerous fighter. But he might be in a situation where if he gets involved in the wrong fight, when I say wrong, it's not necessarily wrong because it's a quality fight. And this is what I mean about being selective with who you fight. If Parker engages in a wrong type of fight, it will ruin his chances because these guys might do him like the way Joyce did, like Zhang did Joyce. I mean, you know. You know what? I don't even want to go to the training camp thing. I honestly believe AJ just lost to someone that's better than him. I don't think any version of AJ works against Daniel Dubois. You don't get beat down that bad and just change. We've seen the best of AJ. I think AJ still beats a lot of people. But what Daniel did, it was just too much for him. But not everyone can do what Daniel can do. And it starts with the jab. Everybody has a right hand. Everyone has punching power. That jab from Daniel is a threat to anybody in the heavyweight division. And Daniel is one of the most improved fighters in the heavyweight division. Flaws and all, he's not going to give you the room to capitalize off his flaws. And even if you're able to hurt him, can you stop him? He's been stopped twice, but it was very late in fights. If his conditioning is good, which I also brought up in a breakdown, the conditioning is so good that even if you're hitting him, you still got to worry about him coming back, possibly in that same round that you're having success in. That's what makes him dangerous for anyone. He's not the biggest heavyweight, but he's one of the hardest punchers there. And with a jab, when you have a jab that can probably knock you out, that's a major problem for anyone at the heavyweight division. And if he does fight Usyk in a rematch, I'm not saying Usyk loses to him, but what I will say is that it would be a more difficult fight for Usyk to win the second time around. All right. So, I mean, that's how I really feel about that. We'll be talking about it, all week now. There'll be a lot of videos and stuff. I mean, this is the heavyweights, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different things that happen. When you see a fight like that, it's like, wow, okay. But let me make something really clear. I still want AJ to fight Tyson Fury at some point. I still want to see AJ. Because you know what? At the end of the day, Fury is not going to fight like Daniel Dubois. He's not Triple D. So this whole triangle theory thing, let's throw that away. Regardless of what AJ did to Ngannou and Ngannou did to Fury, let's throw all that away. Styles make fights. At the end of the day, AJ and Fury is still a good fight. And it's still a toss-up to me. AJ and Wilder is still a good fight. And it's still a toss-up for me. I've done breakdowns in the past where I've switched my picks based off their last performances. I don't want to do any more breakdowns or hypothetical fights. Make the fight happen. Make it happen. I would still love to see it. Still love to see it. Because on any given day, anyone could lose in the heavyweight division. It's a gamble every single time. Every time. But again, I want some of these other guys to get back in the mix. I want them to get their shot. Specifically, Kabayel and Bakoli. I really want them to get a shot at one of these top guys. But I know no one's going to really volunteer to fight that guy or either one of those two. Unless the money is big enough for them where they can't refuse. You know what I mean? I'm drinking Henny today. I'm drinking Henny because that's how I'm feeling today after watching that shit. I'm on the Henny today. We blaming it on the Henny today. All right. VSOP. Sean says, in all caps for like the second time that Dubois is gonna pop. Well, if he pops, Sean, I'll remember you said that. Thank you. If he pops, I'm gonna say, oh yeah, Sean told me that in my video. If he pops. So we're gonna go with that. If he pops, he pops. The damage has been done. It's no different from what's this guy, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. The damage is, the fight is over. You didn't pop before the fight, you popped after. The fight is over. Whether you pop before or after the fight, all we remember is the fight. That's the difference between popping dirty and the fight getting canceled and popping dirty and the fight goes on. If Daniel Dubois were to pop, he already did what he did. And if the belt is stripped, we'll all criticize Daniel. We'll say he's a dirty fighter. But all we're gonna remember is AJ taking that beating. You know, just like Devin Haney took his beating, people hardly ever bring up the fact that Ryan was overweight and pop 30. It is what it is. I mean, I literally see it every day. You know, people care about steroids and PEDs and stuff until it's used against a fighter that they don't like. And AJ, as many people that do support him, there's a lot of people that dislike him, or there's a lot of people that think that he was never really that good to begin with. I think he is good. I think he's like anyone else, man. You know, I mean, I think Lennox Lewis, me, not a favorite, but as far as like historically, I think he's one of the greatest heavyweights ever, right? I think his resume is great. But even him, you know, he got knocked out by McCall. He got knocked out by Hakeem Rockman. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Heavyweights get knocked out, man. Everybody gets knocked out. Him, Holyfield, Tyson, Klitschko, they all got knocked out, man. It's part of the game. You know, it's part of the game. It's just part of the game. You know, this fight reminds me of like Foreman and Frazier, where Frazier was literally that guy. And Foreman just went in there and abused him. I have to go that far back. Now, I don't know what the betting odds were on that time because I wasn't around clearly. And that's a fight that I've seen like on TV after. But I just remember Foreman, you know, or Frazier, I'm sorry. Frazier already had beaten Muhammad Ali. He was that guy. And Foreman went in there and made it look easy. It's just part of the game. Frazier, to many, is still a top 10 heavyweight of all time. It is what it is. Shit just happens, man. And this was a moment. It was a moment, man. You know? Yeah. You know, so, you know, man, you know, shout out to everyone. For you bettors out there, I hope you guys made some money. You know, I did make some money today. Um, you know, obviously I was wrong on the big fight as far as my breakdown. I picked the wrong guy, but I'm not mad at it. Like I'm mad as an AJ fan, but I'm not mad at the love of the sport. You know what I mean? Uh, and I think that's really it, man. Roland says, did the Ngannou fight give AJ superficial confidence? Should AJ have fought a real boxer after beating Wallin? What does this mean for AJ and Davidson? I mean, you know, someone was asking me about the trainer. I don't think he should get rid of Ben Davison. You know, I think it's too late to blame it on the trainers. You know, I think that AJ has improved certain things and he's picked up certain things against the trainers. But you got to understand, I'm not saying that 34 years old, at 34 years old, there's not much you can do. You know, I think AJ has a style that works for him against many fighters. And some of them, they don't. Some of them, they just don't. And Daniel Dubois is one of those fighters. You know, so when it comes to AJ, I don't think it's the trainer's fault. You know, I think when it comes to trainers, I think the only thing that I'm probably going to stand by and say that I wish he stayed with Robert Garcia a little. You know, I don't think they had the right chemistry. But I think Robert if he had stayed with Robert a little bit longer, I think Robert might have changed him a little bit. That's the only thing I say. I think that was the only trainer that I felt like AJ probably should have stayed with a little bit longer. All the other trainers. I mean, I've seen adjustments and I've seen AJ change sometimes for the better. But Daniels, no trainer could have fixed him for this fight. Because I haven't seen AJ completely transform as a fighter. I was watching some of the Klitschko fight just the other day. Has AJ completely changed since that fight? I mean, I'm talking about his abilities. I think the experience makes him better, but I think in the way that he fights, it's not that much different. You know what I mean? I think he's better, but he still fights the same. Like Daniel, even with him, he's improved dramatically, but he still fights the same. You know, when I think of fighters that completely revamped their style and made their style work, was like Marcus Maidana is a great example. Where he didn't have a trainer. He was just fighting like a madman, sloppy but powerful. He was just a regular brawler that was in a ring with boxing gloves as a pro. Um, but when he got with Robert Garcia, he started showing him, how to use a jab and how to be deceptive in some of his punches and his angles. And he taught him how to effectively use that aggression. And it worked for him for the few fights leading up to the Broner fight, and then which got him the Floyd fight and gave Floyd one of his hardest fights in his career. You know what I mean? So I think again his styles make the fights, man. Stipe says Joyce beat Dubois. Now Joyce is in talks to fight Moses Atauma. Combat sports is so crazy, things move so quick, can't take anything for granted. Yeah. Joyce is keep going down the ladder, and now they're feeding him to the new up and coming guys that's looking to get big wins to put them in position to get, a high contender fight. Joyce, not too long ago, was running through everybody. Pause. And he was clearly one of the boogeymen of the sport. Joyce's name was in the top 5 not too long ago. He was up there with Fury, AJ Wilder. Now he's fighting up and coming prospects. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And it's as a heavyweight, this is what happens, man. You know what I mean? I think when it comes to the fighters, like AJ is super successful, bro. This fight is probably worth a couple $100 million. I don't know. So he wins at the end of the day. You know what I mean? He's still a winner at the end of the day. He's a 2-time champ. He made the heavyweight. He's part of the reason why the heavyweight division is exciting again, because for a while it was kind of dry. So because of him, guys like him, Fury, Wilder, the big 3, and even Usyk, they made the division exciting again. So it's never a real loss. Yeah, he lost the fight, but he won in life. And he won as a boxer. He just lost the fight. Same with Fury, same with Wilder. Guys are making tens and hundreds of millions of dollars. All right, but for the next gen, and I think Daniel is part of the next gen, and even some of these younger guys like Moses, and he's coming up and he's gonna, he's on his way, and even some of the guys like Jared Anderson, if he continues to fight, I don't know. But these guys that's in their mid-20s and stuff, you know, it's their time. Because if Usyk, even if Usyk, who knows if Usyk wins in a rematch, and if he does, who knows if he stays at heavyweight, and if he doesn't stay at heavyweight, he could go back to cruiserweight. I don't know what happens, but they're already stamped. They're already solidified. Joshua's already solidified. You know, he still would beat some people, but I think some of these people in the rankings might beat him. There's nothing he can do. I mean, watching that fight tonight, there was nothing this guy could do. And I hate to say it, but after the first round, I already knew it was over. I knew it was over, bro. I knew it was over. Because once you take AJ's confidence and once he starts taunting you, most fighters that starts taunting you, sticking their tongue out and stuff when they get hit, it's a bad sign. It's a bad sign. You know what I mean? Yeah. As far as the other fights, again, against betting wise, it was still a good. I mean, even with the outcome of these fights, it was still a good day for me. Mark Chamberlain looked like a very promising young fighter. He was getting some good highlight wins, knockout wins. He lost today. Hamza Shiraz, I like him, but I'm still unsure. Like I knew Tyler Denny didn't have anything for him. Because I feel like this was a step down from the Austin Williams fight. And Austin, he got stopped, but he had his moments against Hamza. You know what I mean? Josh Kelly, the only reason why I put money on him to win was because I knew Ishmael Davis wasn't going to finish strong. One fight I did watch between the two of them was both of them recently fought Troy Williamson. And they both fought him, and I was more impressed with Josh's win. And Davis doesn't close the show. I think he should have fought harder in the second half. I figured that was going to be his game plan. And even though he hurt Josh at the 12th round, I felt like what he was doing in the 12th round, he should have been doing in the 8th and 9th round. Right? The Kakachi fight, this is one that I predicted Kakachi to win off knockout. I know Josh was going to come in and out and box and give Kakachi some trouble. I knew it was going to be a harder fight than the Joe Cordina fight. But I just felt that Anthony was just too big, too strong, fighting up at 130. And I know Josh, he's a strong fighter. He's a good fighter. But I know I figured he'd get with a good hit with a good shot. And he did get hurt and buzzed a few times in the fight. But it just wasn't enough to get the stoppage. So I was wrong on that one. I lost money on that fight because I picked the knockout instead of the decision. Now Joshua Buatsi is the one that was completely wrong outside of the main event, obviously, but I lost money here because, and I would have lost it anyway. Now I put money on Willie to win on decision. I think that was plus 420 for Willie to win on decision, so I went for it. I also hedged it with a draw because I felt like if it did go the distance, the judges would be a little weird, and they were. One of the judges actually picked Willie to win, even though there was 2 knockdowns and a point taken from Willie because of the countless headbutts. Joshua, if I had picked him to win, if I hedged it with him, it would have been knockout in the second half of the fight because I know Willie kind of burns out. So regardless of me losing money, anyway, I would have lost money because I would have not picked Joshua Buatsi to win on points. I thought if it was going to go to points, I had picked Willie to win. And I thought if someone's going to get knocked out, I would have picked Joshua to knock him out. So even though Willie hurt him a few times, I wasn't surprised by that. It was just more like, I know Joshua's bigger, stronger. I just went for the 420 because I just thought it was a good bet. Even though I lost, I still think it was a good bet to put down. Even with the draw hedge, I thought that was a possibility too. And Buatsi looked good, man. I mean, Willie had his moments, but I thought the commentary was very biased for Willie, especially in the first few rounds. I thought Joshua was doing a better work. He was investing to the body early. He was stronger. He was just better. And Willie had his moments, but Joshua's jab and his work to the body was winning me the rounds for him. All right, so Willie's a good fighter, but Joshua was just too big and strong. And I know they both fought Craig Richards, and I do feel like Willie did better against Craig, but I also felt like Craig wasn't the same fighter that he was against Joshua Buatsi. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's the breakdown of the entire card. I think Danny Dubois, like I told you guys earlier, if you just joining us, I had put money on AJ to win within the first 6. After midway through the first round, the first time I seen Anthony Joshua hold him, I went on a live bet and just put in a bet to cover the loss I would take, or if AJ were to get stopped, by placing a bet on Dan Triple D by knockout. And I believe those bets got locked in right after that round because there was a knockdown in the first round. So I didn't lose any money on there. I only lost money really on the Buatsi and Kokachi fight. Every other fight I made money today. So, again, I do place my bets on my Instagram, on the stories the day of the fight or maybe the day before. I'm going to start doing that every week, okay? Because sometimes I feel bad for not giving you guys my bets. I know there's a lot of gamblers on here, so I'll continue to put them, but only on the day of the fight. I'm not going to put on there early because, I just don't want people to know when I'm putting on fights and stuff. All right. But betting wise, it was a good day for me. But the shock of Anthony Joshua was huge loss for me. Like, I was very, very down about it, but I'm also happy that we got quality fights like this so we can see these kind of outcomes. You know what I mean? Yes, please smash the like button if you haven't already. Shout out to everyone that's here, man. Again, we'll talk more about it, but I'm pretty much covering all bases here. Like, what do I want from AJ? Well, obviously, I don't expect him to go in there with a beast in the very next fight. I don't want a rematch though. All right. So if you're just getting it, I don't want the rematch. I think AJ, if he does continue to box, I just don't think going in there with a Bacoli or Caballel right away is smart. I think if you're going to do a big fight, I think the only proper big fight to do right now is with Tyson Fury if he is to lose with Alexander Usyk, or to fight Deontay Wilder. All right. Guys like Dillian White is still around. Gerald Miller is still around. Even the Gerald Miller fight is a little shaky. Because Gerald Miller is coming off his best win, even though it was scored a draw. I believe Gerald Miller won the fight. I think they're gonna play it safe with AJ. You know, they're still gonna make a lot of money from AJ, and if they can fill up the arena with 96,000 people at um, Wembley. I'm sorry, not Wembley, Wembley. There's still a chance to make another big AJ fight. All right, so I'm not counting them out or anything. It doesn't mean anything, but I expect a Dillian White rematch, something like that. You know, a fight with Dillian White. I expect, you know, a fight with like or a tune up. I would expect those kind of fights. I'm not expecting a big fight with AJ next. You know, I'm going down a list. You know, maybe a Philip Hergovich. You know, and I think he's still. I'm not. These guys are still dangerous as well, but I don't want them to drop too low. You know, I just personally believe that Daniel Dubois was just all wrong for him after watching it. You know, and I think even if AJ is to lose his next fight, I don't think there's many fighters that can do what Dubois did that night. You know, I would think out of the guys that are not super popular, I would say that Bacoli would probably be the next dangerous fight. I think Bacoli would be very dangerous for AJ right now. The most dangerous outside of Triple D, I would say Bacoli is probably another style that's all wrong. Um, you know, Parker, again, not an easy fight, but not as dangerous. Zile Zhang, you know, I know he's dangerous. I know a lot of people bring him up. I think he is dangerous for AJ, but I also believe that he's kind of one dimensional. It's just that he has real damage in the power, and he's very durable. But he's a 5-round fighter. You know what I mean? Um, Daniel Dubois on that jab, you're not going to get that from anyone else here. You know, as I look through BoxRec and I look at these top fighters, that jab that Dubois has is above all these other fighters in the entire heavyweight division. You know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. Um, thank you, Yo Daddy Sports. Nah, I mean, does AJ need to sit down? If he chooses to, he could. You know, but what I don't think that it's the case for a guy that's in the mid-30s now. You know, you got all the experience, and you know, I honestly believe that like mid-30s heavyweights, you know, 30-year-old heavyweights is they've been through it. You know what I mean? He's been through it. He's seasoned. He's been here before. You know, I mean, I know this was a more brutal beating than Andy Ruiz fight, but he's been here before. So I think, you know, definitely take a break, but take the rest of the year off. But I think he needs to come back. I think he should come back, you know. And I don't think he needs, I think he just needs, I don't know. You know, I feel like when it comes to AJ, we all talk about what he needs to change trainers, change this in his style. AJ is AJ. This is who he is as a fighter. Not everyone is going to be able to exploit his weaknesses like the way Triple D did tonight. So don't go too long without a fight. If there's a meaningful fight, quality fight that comes up, take it. I believe that if Fury is to lose to Usyk in a rematch, have a big fight with Fury. I also believe that, the Wilder fight is still on the table. I'm sorry. That's just the way I look at it, man. Again, all of my favorite heavyweights from the 90s lost. I hated it. I was down about it, but all of those guys end up coming back and took wins. You know what I mean? So it's not the end of the world. That's the way I look at it. All right. Anyway, listen, I'm gonna get on out of here, man. It was a great live. I got the vent here. I started off the video venting, and now we're just having a very adult conversation about boxing and the heavyweight division and the way I see it. Again, I apologize. I wasn't here on live. It would have been an epic live, you know. But got to deal with real life, I hated that I missed it, but I'm glad that at least a couple hundred of you kind of came in and tuned in. All right. We'll talk more about it. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good rest of your weekend. And I'm out. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the thumbs up on your way out. Peace.